What's up, everyone? It's Adventures in Bitcoin. So, what is going on with Bitcoin? Why is the price so low? Where's my Lambo? Where's the moon? This is not making any sense. Why is it going down? That's the question everybody really wants to know, and it's what everyone in this space is talking about. We're going to get into it in this video. I'm going to go through some of the points of why I believe that the price is doing what it's doing. And keep in mind, this is just my personal observation based on what I'm seeing and some of the news items that I'm reading, my interpretation of it. You're more than welcome to have your own opinion on these things. I encourage you to leave a comment and we can discuss some of these points, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and you may see something from a different angle than what I'm seeing it, and I would love to kind of see different point of views on some of these things. So, and then we're going to get into kind of where we go from here and my interpretation of what I think is going to happen, or points to look for to jump back in the market. So let's get started. So I'm going to go through a couple of these points here. So starting with the first one, a correction was due. Can we all agree on that? I mean, what goes up must come down, right? That's the law of physics. And that's the law of the markets too. Now, I was guilty back in November of thinking that this thing was not going to stop. It was just going to keep going up and up and up. And, we were all telling people at the Thanksgiving dinner table and Christmas dinner table to buy Bitcoin. And we really should have been telling them stay away from Bitcoin, because anything that goes up that fast, that high that fast, is due to correct. And that's exactly what happened. Two, the investor sentiment has changed. People are just not bullish on Bitcoin anymore. We're seeing a lot of capitulation, which is people that are selling for profits, or just people just wanting to get out. They just got beat up so badly and they just want out of the markets, and they sell. Also, all the negative media reports. We're always hearing whenever there's a hack in Asia on one of the exchanges, the media is all over it, telling everyone to stay away from cryptocurrencies. But it's important to remember that all of these hacks happen on the exchanges. It's not an issue with the blockchain itself, but they don't really highlight that in their news reports. So just some of the things that are contributing to the current price of Bitcoin. All markets are susceptible to manipulation, and Bitcoin is no exception. In fact, it is the most manipulated market probably ever. And that's due to we have a lot of whales where a small majority of people own the majority of Bitcoin, and when that happens, they he who owns the gold makes the rules, right? Isn't that the golden rule? So whenever you have that, you have centralization of a cryptocurrency where people can actually control the price based on their actions, and that is part of the reason why Bitcoin is falling. Government actions. We already know the U.S. has banned all ICOs. ICOs are initial coin offerings. A lot of them, more often than not, turn out to be scams. There are some legitimate ones out there, but the government has came forward saying that they're going to support Bitcoin and Ethereum as legit cryptocurrencies, and anything else that's an ICO would be considered illegal. Now, that's subject to change, but that's the current stance right now from the SEC in the US. They also are cracking down on exchanges, because exchanges have been very lax on their security, and that's what led to all of the hacks recently. If they're going to have a financial institution where people have accounts and they tie their money up there, we deserve to have some kind of security. So the government is going to be imposing on these people to enhance their security measures, and also to crack down on the manipulation that we see from the very beginning in the cryptocurrency markets. Now, what happens is a lot of people got into Bitcoin early on to get away from governments and regulation. And now that the regulation is coming in, I could see a lot of these people getting out or not wanting to be a part of it anymore. Also, the whales are going to want to leave too, because if they can't cheat, then they're probably going to want to leave and take their money elsewhere. Futures contracts expiring. Now there's, we have the CBOE, the Chicago Board of Exchange, that it offers futures contracts for Bitcoin for investors so that they can participate without having to deal with all the technical challenges surrounding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, where they can just trade it like any other stock on the exchange. But what we've been noticing is around the futures contract expiration dates, we see a lot of volatility in Bitcoin. Now, that could be due to manipulation. Maybe some of the investors are trying to tilt the price of Bitcoin in their favor around the time of the expiration dates. We just had one June 13th, and it's safe to say Bitcoin did get affected by that. It's hard to believe, though, that if a few investors can manipulate the price of Bitcoin itself, because it's so highly traded and there's so much volume, talking billions and billions of volume. It's hard to believe that a few investors can really tilt the price that much. But it also could be a self-fulfilling prophecy in that everyone else is expecting this to happen around the expiration dates, so they may be selling to get ahead of it. So either way, we're seeing the volatility around the futures contracts expiration dates. Mining rewards. It's just not profitable to mine Bitcoin and Ethereum anymore because of the price, the way it has dropped so much, and it's kind of a law of diminishing returns. In order to generate more Bitcoin, you have to add to your mining farm. That costs money. It costs electricity, so it's more expensive to mine, and it's just not profitable in my opinion. And because of the law of supply and demand, if the supply is up but the demand is down, which it is right now, the price is going to fall. So I gave you a bunch of reasons why Bitcoin is falling, pretty much a bunch of reasons not to invest in Bitcoin. But why should we invest in Bitcoin? That's really the question. With all of that being said, why should we still invest in it? And at the very end, I'll tell you that this is really not the question you should ask. The question you should ask is, when should you invest in Bitcoin? And we'll get into that at the end of this video. So why should you invest? One, the technology hasn't changed. In fact, it's gotten better, and it's more widely accepted. It's more adopted, and more people, the average Joes, the masses out there, they're all familiar with cryptocurrency. Two, governments and Fortune 500 companies are all investing big in blockchain. We know governments are dabbling in blockchain to see how it can improve things. There was a survey done by Deloitte, a recent survey. They surveyed a bunch of Fortune 500 CEOs, and they talked about how they felt that if they did not invest bigly in cryptocurrencies, that they would fall behind their competitors. Three, Bitcoin is becoming more decentralized, and I put a star here because what I mean by that is, yes, cryptocurrencies in nature is decentralized, but when you have a majority of the miners in a particular country or in a particular pool, and you have a bunch of whales that own a majority of the cryptocurrency in question, whether it's Bitcoin or whatever, it's really centralized. So you have, a decentralized cryptocurrency, but you have centralized holdings and centralized mining. You remember the golden rule, right? He who owns the gold makes the rules. So it is possible that these people can control certain things and manipulate the price and manipulate the direction that a particular cryptocurrency can go. So as it becomes more adopted, it becomes less volatile. So the more spread out everything becomes, the more and more people get involved, the less control these small groups have. And when we start seeing less volatility, we'll start seeing more of the big money come in as they get more comfortable with cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Now, this may be a controversial reason, but common sense regulation may be a good thing. We'll see a lot of the bad actors disappear. We'll see a lot less of the get-rich-quick types coming into cryptocurrency, and we'll all be safer all around. Now, this is going to make a lot of the Bitcoin blockchain maximalists unhappy, but it's going to be something that we're going to have to come to grips with, that regulation is coming and there's nothing we can do about it. So provided they're common sense and they're moderate regulation, then it could be a good thing. Recent global economic events. Now, we just had the G7 summit. The trade agreement is not going so great. If this leads to a trade war, it's not going to be good for the global economy. Whenever we have problems with the global economy, when the outlook is bad, people start turning to cryptocurrency as sort of a safe haven from their fiat currency, and we'll see a rise in the Bitcoin price because of it. 6. Experts agree from a macro point of view there's never been a better time to invest. The technology's never been better. The more and more people know what it's about, understand it, and the price has never been this low. A lot of them will agree that yes, the price will probably fall some more, but not much more. All right, so here's some pro tips, and I'm by no means an expert, but here are some of the things that kind of I've learned along the way, and that I think that you benefit from. And the first one is dollar cost average. Don't be the one that comes in, say, I'm going to make a ton of money on crypto, and just dump your whole life savings into it all in one shot. You want to pick a certain amount that you are comfortable with losing, and start to take nibbles at particular prices that you like. If you think it's going to come down to a certain price, you can start breaking up your investment into small bits and do it a little bit at a time. Either you can do this when the market is falling, when the market's going up, or when the market's going sideways. Asset allocation, just like any other market, you want to make sure that your portfolio is diversified. Like an example, diversification might be something like a third of your investment in Bitcoin, a third in Ethereum, and the other third split up amongst different altcoins that you like. Litecoin, Monero, whatever you think is going to do well. Now, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, so this is really up to you to decide how your asset allocation should be. But you should definitely not put your eggs in one basket. Keep everything diversified as much as possible. And for God's sakes, secure your crypto. Whether you use hard wallets, whether you use online wallets, but you back up your keys, make sure you back them up offline. Whether it's going to be different depending on which wallet you use. You'll have a passphrase or you'll have a backup file. Make sure you store it offline. Get familiar with the top 10, if not the top 25 cryptocurrencies. Make sure you know what they are, what they do, who's behind them. Head on over to CoinMarketCap and start to browse through the charts, browse through all the features, you can go to each website, and you can also look at the social media feed on each one. It's pretty much where I start my cryptocurrency day, is by going on CoinMarketCap, sorting by winners, sorting by losers, see who anybody new came into the top 10, anybody new came into the top 25, because you'll see they'll fight for position. They won't always keep the same number that they have. So just be aware of that. Always try to think ahead of the crowd. For example, if Bitcoin is up and everyone's talking about Bitcoin, start buying altcoins. Consequently, if the altcoins are up, start looking at Bitcoin. You want to be ahead. You don't want to do the opposite of what everyone's doing. Sometimes it makes sense to do that, but always try to be thinking, where are they going next? And last but not least, always remember high risk equals high reward, but also equals high risk. Be prepared to whatever you invest in to fall. and be okay with that, because what goes up must come down. Remember, this is a very high volatile environment. Never invest more than what you are willing to lose. Okay, with all that being said, let's take a look at the charts and see what Bitcoin is doing and what it may do next. And I'll kind of walk you through kind of how I see things. This is a chart at tradingview.com. It's free. Just sign up with an account. There is paid content where you get a little more features, but the free version is good enough for me. I like the tools. I've gotten familiar with it. For indicators, I mainly use the, aside from volume, I use the RSI. I use the MACD indicator. I like to look at the 200-day moving average, and also Bollinger Bands is another one I've just started using. The problem with TradingView is that you only can have so many indicators on at a particular time. So this is what I have right now. So we'll just go with this. So as you can see, the general trend of Bitcoin is down, which is not good. Not good. We're well below our 200-day moving average, which is sort of a good thing. Kind of says it's a safe time to buy. The RSI is saying it's towards the oversold levels, which is good. You like to buy when it's oversold because there's a better chance of it going up and you making a profit. I'd like to see it, just because of the history of Bitcoin lately, I'd like to see it down below the this line here, which is under here is the oversold levels. I'd like to see it down there for a little while more. A positive thing is we're seeing a triple bottom here, where you can see that it touched this line 3 times, 1, 2, and 3, which this kind of reinforces this floor here, which could be a bottom. But I'm not very confident in this, just because of the positive news that we're seeing, that I view as positive, with Ethereum being accepted as not a security from the SEC. That was pretty huge. We didn't see a spike in that. The negative news with the global economy, I would expect to see a pump in Bitcoin like we've seen in the past, and we're just not seeing that. So that leads me to believe that it's going to fall more, or I should say it's likely to fall more. So, if you were bullish on Bitcoin, you were looking to pick up some positions. Like I said, we like to dollar cost average. Then you may want to start, every week, add a little bit as it touches this line, if it comes back to it. If it falls, see where it catches, because it may catch on some of this horizontal resistance. The first one being way down here, and then the next one here. All right, we're at 3,300. Man, $3,300 Bitcoin. I wouldn't mind picking up some of those again. It's been a while since I paid that little for Bitcoin. Or right here at 2,100. I doubt highly it'll come down to 1,000. It could. A lot of experts are saying that it could. It may. But I just think a lot of the people that are already invested in Bitcoin are in it for the long haul. And I think, a lot of people, they come in here hoping to get rich, but then they fall in love with the technology. And I would probably fit into that category somewhere. And they don't want to sell because they want to see it succeed. So I don't see it dropping down that low. But I think anything under 4,000 is a great buy, and I'll be buying some at that level. We look at Bitcoin from a macro level because Bitcoin really dictates the market. Bitcoin is the king. Now, other altcoins may do well while Bitcoin is falling. That happens a lot. But to judge the general direction of the cryptos, you got to look at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's saying that, he's either near a bottom or at a bottom right now. If you're interested in chart analysis, I have some videos on it. I go into Elliott Wave. I talk about a little bit in Hyperwave because I've been studying up on that and learning about it. I also have videos explaining some of the indicators that I use, what they're for, and how to use them. So feel free to browse my channel. There's also a ton of information on YouTube that you can further your knowledge with. If you've been following my channel, I've been a big proponent of Ethereum. I look at the Bitcoin chart to kind of decide when to buy, but when I buy, I usually buy Ethereum. I think it's going to be a better performer. I think it's going to outperform Bitcoin this year into next year, just because of all the applications that are coming on it. This is Ethereum's chart. I have it heavily marked up because I like to draw pictures. But it's in this triangle here, and I feel like it's going to play in this area until it finally breaks out. And I'd be looking to buy in these circles I put here. Either when it breaks out to the downside or breaks out to the upside, I'd be looking to add to my Ethereum position. Now from there, I would typically use that money, because Bitcoin and Ethereum to me is a gateway from fiat into the cryptocurrency world, because those are the two main cryptos that you can actually buy with money, with fiat money. From there, I would take it and then I would diversify it across the different altcoins out there at the exchanges. And whenever possible, I take the money off of the exchanges and put it into a local wallet like Exodus or Jax or something that supports multiple cryptocurrencies. This way I have control over it. I don't have to worry about an exchange getting hacked or them losing my money. So that is it for what the heck is going on with Bitcoin. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It takes a lot to put this content together, and I really appreciate it. It puts a smile on my face and keeps me coming back for more. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. If your opinion is different from mine, I'd love to hear it. Just keep the comments respectful, and we'll stay friends. That's it. See you in the next video, guys. Peace.